welcome to the 15th Annual Regina Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Warren Woods from 980 CJME, and it's my pleasure to be here tonight to act as your MC. I'm actually kind of filling in for my good friend Chris Hodges, who has been doing this for quite a few years. Couldn't do it this year. Hopefully I can live up to his rather large standards. We're off to a flying start. By the way, this is a protest-free event. I have been told, please, no controversy. Do not take a knee. I said, don't worry, I'll never get back up if I do, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm looking forward to this and also looking forward to hearing from the new inductees tonight, but I do caution them. Please do not try to challenge Rich Preston's record for the longest acceptance speech a couple of years ago. I think that went about, it felt like an hour. That thing went longer than my first marriage. So we know you have lots of people to thank. It's your night. But remember, some of us have to get up in the morning, all right? Anyway, it's exciting. I've had the chance to know and cover many of the inductees that are going to be honored here tonight. Kim Walker, for instance, still playing at an incredibly high level. She's won so many provincial and city golf championships, can't even begin to count. Zillion club championships. They should just give her own permanent parking spot over the Wascana. The club champion always gets a spot over there, and you might as well just give it to her permanently. She's won so many. Don McDougall. Don I've known for years, you know, through his work with the Rams. He's given back in so many ways, including his work with the Shriners. He is going in as a builder, but truth be known, Don was not a bad athlete. I mean, you got to have a little bit of talent if you're going to ride those little trikes around in all those parades, you know. So he's done a great job there. Jerry Sabetnik. I don't really know Jerry, but he did win a couple of national championships with the Regina Rams as head coach. And I actually didn't know that they had a head coach other than Frank McChrystal. I don't know. I thought that was kind of Frank's old personal fiefdom, you know. He just got coronated, took the job for life, kind of like the Queen, you know. But anyway, Frank is here tonight, and good to see him, and congratulations to Jerry for his induction as well. Brian Desjardins, champion weightlifter, started rather late, which gives all of us in the Geritol set a little bit of hope. Kim Berge-Kuyp, champion in 2 sports, judo and wrestling. Fantastic, that's just incredible. And Jackie Moore, what a basketball career she had at the University of Regina. Just absolutely dominant. I can remember her back in the day. She was also our go-to person for interviews. Still playing and coaching in Europe, so unfortunately she couldn't be here tonight, but her mom is here. She actually patrols the concourse at Pat's games, keeps me up to date on what Jackie's doing, and then quickly tells me to get behind that white line, or else she's going to get me. So anyway, good to see Jackie's mom's here tonight. Wonderful group of inductees, as mentioned. And first, to get things going, we'd like to call up our president this year, a guy that I've known also for many years. He was actually, a member of the Pats when I first arrived here. He was a member of that famed pup line with the Pats, but as we all know, he is a pup no longer. Would you please welcome Mr. Frank Kovacs?
All right, thank you, Warren, for the kind introduction. Chris Hodges usually does the emceeing, and unfortunately he couldn't be here with us this evening, and we heard this about a month ago, and one of the board members said, hey, what about Warren Wood? And of course we said, let's get him. And Warren graciously accepted the role. We want to thank you for giving your time to be the MC for this evening, and I recognize that it takes a lot of time and effort to do this job, and we are very much appreciative of it. Thank you very much, Warren. As Warren mentioned, I'm Frank Kovacs, the president of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. I am so very proud to be a part of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame as a past inductee and now as the president. For the 15th straight year, the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is honoring people who have contributed to sports within the city by inducting them into the hall. There are now 90 inductees into the hall, 38 athletes, 35 builders, 13 teams, and 4 patrons. There are also 150 honorary members with Regina connections who had previously been inducted into the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame. The Regina Sports Hall of Fame is a non-profit organization that is formed to honor athletes, builders, teams, and patrons who have contributed to sports in Regina. I would like to take this time to congratulate this wonderful class of 2017 inductees. What you all have either achieved or given to your sport is remarkable, and you are all very well deserved of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I think we all have an important role to be leaders and good role models for the youth. I believe that the Regina Sports Hall of Fame can be part of hopefully inspiring the youth to do well in the sporting world, and that the youth will look to these and past inductees to inspire them to be the best they can be, not only in their sport, but in all that they do. I do have some sad news to pass along. In the past couple months, 2 of our past inductees to the Hall have passed away. Graham Tour, inducted in 2012 as a builder in hockey, and Bernice Johnner, inducted in 2012, a builder in softball. She was inducted with her husband, Matt. On behalf of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, we would like to offer our deepest condolences to the families of Bernice and Graham. I would like for all of us to stand up and have a moment of silence for Graham, Bernice, and all of the other past inductees who have passed away. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Being in the organization involved with sports, we all know how very important it is to work together as a team. Teamwork is essential to having success, and that is no different with Regina Sports Hall of Fame. We are made up of the executive board members who do so much work behind the scenes to make the Hall a huge success. I would like at this time for the following board members to stand up. Past President Darrell Davis, Vice President Doug McCaw, Treasurer Marlene Hoffman, Secretary Murray McCormick, Board members Barry Taman, Jim Park, Rod Schmidt, Brad Howard, Bree Burgess, and our ceremony chair, Kathy Glasser. Please give a round of applause. All of us are either members, past inductees, or have personal ties to the Hall, or just have a passion to honor people who have contributed to the sport in Regina. Thank you very much, guys, for all you do for us. Another big part of our success has come from some major sponsors and supporters. I'd like to acknowledge the following. Everest Place for allowing us to have our Regina Sports Hall of Fame display at the Cooperators Hockey Rink. Molson, who is our founding sponsor. SAS Sports Hall of Fame, who is our primary backer, who initiated the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, and here representing them is Sheila Kelly. University of Regina, who is the original home of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. The Queensberry for putting on this event and providing us with this beautiful venue and amazing food. Last but certainly not least, I want to say thank you to all of you. Again, like any sport in this world, it is really just a sport. But what makes it successful is the fans and the supporters, and that's where all of you come in. Thanks again for all of us coming together as a team and making this year's event a huge success. Enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Back around the 1990, 91 or something like that, Lauren Mulliken said he wasn't that eloquent. He is. Who knew? That's when Mooner was coaching the Warriors, so he took a shot at Frank one time. So. Now I'd like to congratulate, first of all, Sheila Kelly. She is the Executive Director of the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. And recently, she has received the Schrader Award from the International Sports Heritage Association. This is the highest honor given by the ISHA for meritorious service, and it was given to Sheila for her significant contribution to the field of sports heritage. We know that I saw Sheila here earlier tonight. I know that she is here, so congratulations to Sheila. I believe she been back there. There she is. There's Sheila right here. Hey, stand up there. Come on, Sheila, you deserve a little recognition, a few props, a little love. Thank you. Congratulations. We would now like to honor our past inductees. We're going to introduce them to you separately, the ones that are here tonight. We are very pleased to have many of our past inductees here this evening. They've done so much to build sport and entertain us here in Regina over the years. So could we have the first person up here? Some of them I know, some of them I don't, so like I don't know this guy. Dick White, builder, multi-sport. Boy, two guys that never met a mic they didn't like here. Greg Feger, athlete, multi-sport. Carol Lafayette Boyd, athlete, athletics. Marlene Hoffman, builder, volleyball. Darlene Soley, athlete, softball. Kelly Hamilton, builder, football. Gary Mather, builder, football. Glenn Fakula, builder, basketball. Roland Duplessis, Pat Canadians team, hockey. Frank Kovacs, athlete, hockey. Good friend George Watson, builder, multi-sport. I've heard of him. Al Ford, athlete, football. Tom Shepard, builder, football. Lenny Antonini, builder, football. John Hoffman, builder for bowling and a few other things as well. Doug McCaw, athlete, bowling, sorry. And I've heard of Jim Park, athlete, rally. Congratulations and thank you for all showing up tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And now, I think all the preliminaries are done, and we got that all right. Somebody's going to have to keep me on course here because we've gone off script a little bit. But it's time now for the Regina Sports Hall of Fame to honor the past and inspire the future as we are pleased to induct the following into our Hall of Fame. And once again, I'll ask Frank Kovacs to come up. He will present the pin and certificate to all inductees. First up, Kim Walker, athlete, golf. Still active, Royal Regina Golf Club Ladies Club Champion, 1993 and 94. Wascana Country Club Ladies Champion for 13 consecutive years, 2005 to 2017. Regina Lady City Amateur Champion, 1998, 02, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Saskatoon Lady City Amateur Champion in 2015. Provincial Mixed Team Champion with Randy Gilowich in 2014 and 15. Saskatchewan Women's Provincial Team Member at the Canadian Women's Amateur Championships in 2014, 15, 16, and 17. Saskatchewan Women's Provincial Amateur Champion in 2016 with runner-up in 2014, 15, and 17. And Golf Saskatchewan Female Player of the Year and Order of Merit winner in 2015, 16, and 17. Would you please welcome into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Kim Walker, athlete, golf.
I was told I would be given the opportunity to present a speech, I really wasn't sure what to say. I don't have a rags to riches story to share or a grueling work ethic to follow. But what I do have, and what has made me successful, is simply a true love for the game of golf. I was introduced to the game of golf by my dad. He was by no means a professional player, but someone who was very passionate about the game and wanted to pass that on to me. I was 8 years old when my dad started taking my brother and I to the golf course. We would hit balls and practice chipping and putting for hours, creating silly games and little competitions between the three of us. I'm not really sure I even liked the game at that point, or whether I just really loved the fact that it allowed me to spend time with my dad and to beat my older brother. We soon became young architects of the game, designing miniature holes in our backyard and in the park across the road. Golf was not a popular sport to play when I was young, and there were no other junior girls playing at the club. And sadly, my attention was taken away to focus on competitive swimming, long-distance running, and participating in school sports. I followed my love of sports to study physical education at the University in Calgary. When I returned home, my dad reintroduced me to the game of golf, and that was when my love affair began. The more I played, the more addicted I became. Every spare moment in the summer months was spent practicing or playing. I was very fortunate to have had some amazing mentors cross my path at that time, including Joanne Goulet. Joanne saw the potential in my game and was instrumental in encouraging me to start playing competitively. The more I competed, the greater my desire to win. With each win came bigger tournaments, tougher competition, and the added pressure to repeat. I met some great players who became good friends. We encouraged and challenged each other through friendly rivalries, all with the same motivation, to win. But not just to win for the love of competition, to win for our love and respect for the game. For those of you who play golf, you would know that it's a very time-consuming sport, and so much of that time is spent on your own, one-on-one with the course, just thinking. The more I played, the more I began to realize that golf was so much more to me than just a game I was good at. Every aspect of the game became relatable to life. Honesty, integrity, respect, patience, trust, sportsmanship, and the ability to adapt to ever-changing obstacles. Not only did I become a stronger player by learning and embracing the foundations of the game, I became a stronger person. The golf course became my sanctuary. It became the place I went to when I needed life to make sense, the place that allowed me to just breathe. As I walked the fairways, I found myself having conversations with the game. It's hard to describe the way I felt, but it felt like the game itself had become a friend. The more I shared with the game, the more it gave back to me. It listened without judging. It comforted me when I felt alone. It taught me to laugh at myself, and it taught me to believe in myself. It challenged me, allowed me to fail, and in turn taught me to succeed. It introduced me to my best friends and nurtured my closest relationships. It escorted me around the world and showed me some of the most beautiful sights and landscapes I've ever seen. It has been the reason for some of my happiest moments in life, and has supported me in some of my most challenging times. It taught me that not every bounce in life is fair, and how to bounce back when it isn't. Golf has always been there for me, even when I chose to pursue other sports over it, when I took time away from the game to have my daughter. It allowed me to get older and to change physically, but it always waited patiently and never left my side. All my life, I have struggled with insecurities. I have struggled with the changes in life that I've had to face. But golf gave me the time and the space and the clarity of mind to accept those insecurities and to come to terms with those challenges. I still remember the 2016 Saskatchewan Amateur. I put my final drive safely in the fairway on the 18th hole, and I knew at that moment I had won the tournament, my biggest win. I let my guard down and my emotions flooded. I was so excited. But I didn't look up in thanks as most people do. Instead, I looked down. I looked down at the grass and at the course and simply said, "We did it. And I'm not really sure who I was talking to, but I was simply thanking the game of golf for helping me through my lowest lows and at that moment providing me with one of my highest highs. I've never seen myself as a role model, simply because I think the game of golf has done so much more for me than I ever could for it. But if I've helped open the door from someone to succeed in the game competitively, or encouraged someone to enjoy the game recreationally, or simply motivated someone to love the game by seeing it the way that I do, then I've succeeded in giving back. Thank you to my dad for introducing me to the game of golf. It truly is one of the best gifts I've ever been given. You patiently taught me how to play over 40 years ago, and you've been my favorite person to play with ever since. You taught me to manage my game, to accept my weaknesses, and how to play to my strengths. A cautious approach balanced by calculated risks made me mentally strong and guided me to a successful amateur career. You walked by my side at my most important tournaments, and when you couldn't be there in person, you were in my head helping me navigate the sport. Your encouragement and support helped me to win. Thank you for celebrating all my greatest moments in competition and for helping me get through the difficult moments in defeat. You have always been my #1 fan, both on the course and off. I love you and thank you for always being by my side. My daughter, Colby, you truly are the love of my life. I think it is supposed to be the other way around, but I've learned so much in life from you. I'm in awe of your confidence, your independence, your strive for excellence, your self-motivation, your fearlessness, and your unique ability to focus on exactly what is important. Colby was my caddy at the Canadian Amateur in Halifax last year, and I was having a very bad stretch of holes, and I was frantically trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. And I turned to her to see if she had any advice. "It's so obvious," she said. "The problem is you aren't putting the ball in the hole. So just put the ball in the hole." Golf has taken us on many journeys together, and I love the game even more for giving us those special memories. Your success in academic, sports, and dance have been an inspiration to me. Thank you for the sacrifices you have made to support me and for always sharing in my success. Thank you for being as proud of me and of my accomplishments as I am of you and yours. To my brother Mike, for always challenging me and unleashing my love for competition. Some of my happiest memories in life were growing up with him. I wanted to beat Mike at everything, especially golf. So I never questioned his unorthodox methods of teaching me the finer points of the game. Did you know the penalty for not hitting a wedge across the road is having to do 10 naked jumping jacks in the middle of the road? Naively, neither did I. Needless to say, my wedge shots improved quickly, and to this day are one of the strengths of my game. After many years of playing and practicing together, Mike achieved great success as a junior golfer. He continued to play college golf in Scottsdale, followed by a successful career as a professional golfer in California. I miss you, Mike, and I wish you could have been here tonight to honor me with this. Anyone who is successful in sports knows they could not have achieved what they did on their own. There is always that one special person who quietly stays in the background, but does everything you need to keep all the other aspects of your life cared for and calm in order to allow you to focus on your goal or to be your very best when you need to. That special person would be my best friend, my mom. You are not only my rock, but you are the foundation that holds our family together. You have always been the one who keeps me moving forward and never lets me fall. Thank you for supporting me in everything I do. You don't give me advice on how to swing a club or how to manage my game, but you take care of everything else in my life that has allowed me the time and ability to be successful. You're an amazing example of how to overcome adversities with your strength and positive thinking. You're an inspiration to me, and I love you so very much. To my partner, Randy Gilowich, with whom I won 2 provincial mixed championships. Randy, you deserve to be up here as much as I do for all your accomplishments in golf, being a 4-time provincial team member and a 3-time city amateur champion yourself. Thank you for generously supporting my game, for being my swing coach, and for being my caddy for many of my major events, often at the sacrifice of missing your own tournaments to support me at mine. Your skill and knowledge of the game has bettered me as a player, and your friendship and support has enriched my life. To my closest friends, thank you for sharing my love of the game, for unconditionally supporting me, and most of all, for knowing how to calm my crazy. I would like to express my sincere thanks to the Wascana Country Club, whose executive, staff, and membership have facilitated and enthusiastically supported my golfing efforts and success for the past 15 years. Many of you are here tonight, for which I am truly grateful. Thank you to Golf Saskatchewan for supporting and funding. Your support and funding of amateur golf in both city and the province has allowed me to experience the game in a way I never thought possible. So much work goes behind the scenes of every tournament. Thank you to all the volunteers and local courses that have enabled me to compete at the highest national level. I would not be standing here tonight if it were not for the nomination of Mr. Gord Stasison. Gord himself is a member of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 2004 as a multi-sport builder. Thank you, Gord, not only for acknowledging my accomplishments, but for all that you did for the game of golf. Gord was the lifeblood of junior golf in Regina, instituting one of the best junior programs in the Western Canada. He is a mentor and role model to all golfers and all builders in sport, and a true representation of the game himself. Congratulations to my fellow inductees on your accomplishments, success, and generosity to sport. Your stories are inspiring. There definitely seems to be a common theme on what a positive impact sports can have on people and how much lives are enriched when we give back. To Frank Kovacs and the board of the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, thank you for recognizing my accomplishments and presenting me with this prestigious honor. I am so very proud to have my name permanently associated with the game of golf in the city of Regina. Receiving this award and being given the opportunity to thank all of you while I am still actively competing makes it that much more gratifying. Thank you very much.
Put the ball in the hole. That's the secret. All right. Our next inductee is Don McDougall, builder, multisport. Don is a longtime teacher and principal in Regina Public School Board, served on numerous boards, coached boys and girls school teams, while also an active member of the Order of Demolay, the Masons, and the Wawa Shriners. Board member, president of Sask Sport in 1997 and 98, with whom he chaired several committees, and served as president of the Saskatchewan Hall of Fame in 2003 and 4. Committee member, provincial chair of kids sport, minor football coach of the year in 1967, director and president of the Regina Rams, 1980-81, winning national championships both those years. Also president of the Prairie Junior Football Conference, game day productions for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he also served on the team's management committee. And he is also a recipient of the Saskatchewan Volunteer Medal. That is a national and provincial honor bestowed on behalf of the Crown. Would you please welcome into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, builder, multisport, Don McDougall.
What a distinct pleasure to be going in with the class that's going in this year. Kim, you said most of the things that I was hoping to say, but you were a hell of a lot more eloquent. So you're going to have to put up with me. And that diminutive little Sheila Kelly over there, the first time I walked into the hall just to see her on something else, and she said, "Congratulations, Don." Anything longer than 2 minutes and I grab the hook. I'll try to keep it short. For all of us that have had this great honor, and Frank, honestly, when you phoned me that day, I didn't quite catch the whole thing, and you said, you're going to be nominated into the Hall of Fame, but don't tell anybody. Going through my mind very quickly was, okay, who the hell's playing a joke? I didn't quite recognize the voice, Frank, I'm sorry, but you blew me away that morning. I had a chance as a young man, growing up with a mother and father for a short time before they both passed away in the same year, to be grounded in life. And that's where I owe all of my good decisions to. Dad was a coach with the ladies' Govans baseball or softball team, semi-pro that used to operate out of Central Park over here. At 7, I was a ball boy. Boy, was that an experience. Listening to those ladies talk in some words that I hadn't heard before. And they were going to get a better hit next time, you know, if that pitcher would just. But we learned things over there. Dad was also an official. But Mom and Dad gave me the foundation to go ahead and try anything I wanted to get involved with. They were the ones that allowed me to make the best decision in my life, to marry my wife, Jill. We celebrated 47 years this year. She still hasn't grown totally tired of me. There have been nights, and there have been some mornings, and sometime during the day. But we're still together. To Jill, I owe her everything. She's the computer around our house. When I say, that guy looks familiar. Well, yeah, you should know him because it was 1970. Okay, not anymore. Or when I meet a young kid that was in my schools, and Jill will say, okay, who is that? Well, I can't tell you, but I know they were in grade 5 that this year up on the second floor. But I can't put a name to them. Well, in my career, I had more than 3,500 kids under my administration. So some of the names do slip by. But once I had a chance to work with the young people at the schools and see the thrill that they got out of becoming a team, just like Sask Sports says, it's more than a game. Sport is more than a game. It teaches all these kids that can get involved with a sport to join with their friends, to go out and do the best job they can possibly do, and then the rewards will come. And the rewards are not always trophies. They aren't medals. But what they are is you make some lasting friendships. I have 2 mentors that I want to thank specifically. Unfortunately, both of them are gone. One is Dr. Alec Guy, who mentored me during my years as a young D-Malay. It was a boys' youth organization. And he's the one that said, you know, you'd make a good teacher someday. Well, when you're a little fat and a little nervous and you're worried about speaking, that didn't seem like a good job for me. But thanks, Alec. That was great. Another one was the finest gentleman, one of the finest gentlemen I've ever met, and that's Gord Curry. Very, very quiet, very, very strong, and very concerned about everyone else. I have some other thanks, and I want to be honest. At this age, you don't think about joining a team. But I have a team, and there's a number of them over on that far side. We do not ride bikes. We do not drive the cars. We do not make clown faces. But we have the best drum corps in Canada. We actually have won an international award. We also don't have many musicians, to be honest, but we've got a lot of guys over there that can say, oh yeah, okay, I can get that beat, I think. Just don't add a lot of extra beats in there. But that is just simply a team. We go out to every parade. We go out to do our best. And we come back excited about it. Whether we've done our best or not, because we really don't ask for don't send me anything on social media that gives me how well they did and they were standing up here. We don't need that. We're just proud to be working together. And for the main function is to work for the children in the Shriners hospitals. That is so gratifying, just to have that. I see Sheila is reaching for the hook. I have a good friend, Bob Baker, who drove in specifically today from Calgary. Bob, I really appreciate that. And to the Rams, you really can't, I can't thank you guys enough for what I learned. Frank McChrystal, the night you tried to pick up my wife until I said, Frank, do you know that's Jill, my wife? God, you should have seen him run out of that room. To Bernie and the good times we've had. To Lenny, Aunt Ninny that went across here, Kelly Hamilton. Boy, as a community, we really need to thank you too for building and improving on the old Charlie Leibel field and making the Regina Minor football what it is today. Kelly, you guys really deserve it. I'm going to close now, but thank you all for supporting the Regina Hall of Fame. It's important. You're hearing stories tonight from people you may not even knew before. And it's amazing what they have accomplished and what they are trying to do. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Don. By the way, when Don was managing the Rams for a couple of years, I was doing radio play-by-play for them back then, and we were on many a road trip, actually. We were shared the same seat at times, so I was able to get the odd story from Don McDougall. I appreciated all his insights and some of the background information I was able to get on a lot of things going on in Regina and with sports. So thank you, Don. Our next inductee, Jerry Sabitniak, builder, football. Jerry coached the Miller High School football team for 10 years before joining the Junior Rams in 1977 to 1983, spending 6 years, his last 6 years as head coach, and appearing in 3 national championships, winning in 1980 and 1981, and with teams that have since been inducted into the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame. He also coached high school wrestling before coaching sons and daughters in ringette, hockey, t-ball, baseball, and soccer. He's a teacher and vice principal for 30 years with the Regina Catholic School Board. He received numerous volunteer awards for longtime work with Football Saskatchewan and Football Canada, both of whom he served as president. Would you please welcome into the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame, builder, football, Jerry Sabitniak.
I don't know if I need this, my eyes will fail me or not. They've been pretty good so far, so we'll try without them. Thank you to the Sports Hall of Fame for the honor of being inducted into the Hall. Congratulations to the fellow inductees, and I am certainly honored and humbled by this recognition. A word to Kim about golf. it made me forget how to count. I can't seem to get past 8. I never want to hit to that 9. I had trouble with my math. But great to see all the fellow inductees here this evening. This is actually a special evening to be able to share it with friends and family. My family here tonight is my wife Donna, daughters Jerry Lynn and Lori from Calgary, son Randy and daughter-in-law Jolene, and grandchildren Brett, Jordan, Katie they all drove in from Vernon. Grandson Zach and Damien are in Calgary and couldn't make it tonight. They're keeping Calgary safe, I guess. Thank you all for coming. With the many years of sports involvement as a coach and administrator, I've been blessed to have worked with many great athletes and people. And that's certainly the recognition I'm getting here tonight is a tribute to them. Locally, provincially, and nationally, I have had an opportunity to work with people throughout the country. Started my coaching career at Miller High School with people like Dick Wiest, Dave Stouse, coaching numerous great athletes, mostly in football and wrestling. Thank you to all my Miller colleagues who are here this evening. It's certainly nice to see you and be reacquainted. Then I was asked to coach the Rams by Mel Fiesel, who took over from Gord Curry. That was after our illustrious career with the Regina Buffaloes together. I don't know if anybody remembers them. After spending several years coaching the Rams and logging many, many bus miles and stories with coaches Jerry Harris, Frank McKistel, and Bernie Schmidt, and who can forget the friendly giant Cam Clark. We had the opportunity to win national titles in 1980 and 1981, and Don McDougall, who was just up here, was the president of the club at that time. Don spent hours doing what he had to do to make us successful on the field. Some Ram players that are here, and there's others I'm sure, Larry Mueller, Tim Magoo, and all the others who may be here. Thank you for that opportunity. This may be dating me a bit, but the leader post scribes of the day, both for high school and the Rams, were Arnie Tiefenbach, Nick Miniokas, Greg Drennan. The leader post was always very, very supportive of minor and amateur sport here in Regina. This all led to my getting involved in the coaching certification program through some encouragement from Gary Mader, and got involved in sports, Football Canada and Football Saskatchewan, where we tried to promote the growth of football and were instrumental in bringing the Huracan Bowl, if anyone can remember that. That was a one-shot thing to Regina, which was quite an achievement, and the Rams beat a European football team at that time. Another one of their many challenges that they met and succeeded in. It's good to see the growth of minor football due to the work, as had been mentioned, by Kelly Hamilton and Lynn Antonini, two former Rams. Traveling throughout the country, Saskatchewan sports, not only in football, but all of it, is certainly an envy of other places. And Regina specifically has a great sports program when we compare it to others around the country. Along the way, I had the opportunity to coach baseball, hockey, soccer, ringette, and that was pretty special, that ringette. Not knowing much about it, Gary Mather and myself were coaching our daughter's team. While coaching one game, I use that term kind of loosely, several girls began tugging at my jacket, all wanting to be a white stick. And those of you who don't know, white stick means you can go all over the place, but you can only have one of them. Well, I suggested to 3 girls that they could all be white sticks. That was fine. Well, I had that cleared up pretty quickly, and that night went home and read the rule book and became far more acquainted with the game of ringette. But that's what you do when you're asked to coach, when you're really not totally prepared. I feel that where is sports going now? It's kind of interesting. I think it's in good hands technically. It certainly is. I mean, technology has done a lot to improve it. But with the availability of technology, more resources, and coaches, as a coach, we have to be careful not to overcoach, particularly during the game. Game film has become instant and clear. Frank, remember the time when it was grainy and it took you a week to get it? I mean, it wasn't as instant as it is now. We are seeing players more anxious to get off the sidelines and see the tablet instead of watching the game and knowing what's going on. Al Ford never had that luxury because when he finished playing as a tight end or a running back, he was back on defense playing as a defensive back. No tablets or video games for him on the sidelines. Financial and time restrictions have also become an issue in not allowing athletes to become athletes. It's tough to become a multi-sport athlete because of the time requirement to be an elite athlete, and doing one is almost enough. And I'm sure Kim sees that when she progressed in her game of golf. And wasn't it Wayne Gretzky who mentioned that he played baseball in the spring and summer and hockey in the winter? He didn't play hockey all year long. So did Gordie Howe. Two multi-sport athletes that I can recall, and there are others, were Jerry James. He'd be with the Blue Bombers in the fall, and then with the Maple Leafs in the winter. Greg Feger, who played both football with the Rams, and when that was finished, he played junior hockey with the Pats, and then turned to professional football. Not that there aren't athletes that can do it now, but it's just getting more and more difficult for them to do that. You have to choose your sport maybe at too early an age. All this comes at a price. When you are busy coaching after and looking after someone else's kids, somebody else is either coaching yours or they don't get involved. We have been very, very fortunate as our kids have had good coaches both in the school and community sports. And they are still involved as participants and coaches in their communities to this day. Our grandchildren are very active in not only team sports, but individual sports as well. Donna and myself have become very active spectators, watching our grandchildren. And if you think hockey, as I mentioned, is expensive, which it is, Katie, our granddaughter, is thinking equestrian. Well, Randy, have you checked out the price of a horse lately? A trailer and then a truck to pull it with? Yeah, that don't come cheap. The glue to all this is a non-coaching spouse who is left getting the kids ready and looking after the home front, taking the children to practices, games, and keep the home fires burning. I was very fortunate and would like to thank Donna for her support and encouragement. Those of you coaching, enjoy it. Wins and losses will pass, but the memories you gain from them and the relationships will last forever. Thank you very much.
Hear what he says about overcoaching. Never seen that before around here. Third string quarterback and first and goal. Anyway, I digress. Next inductee, Kim Berge-Kuyt, athlete, judo, and wrestling. Kim was a Canadian judo champion in 1991 and junior champion in 1989, the World Masters champion in 2003. First female in Judo Saskatchewan history to attain 5th degree black belt. CIAU wrestling champion in 1997-98. And a 4-time winner at the Canadian Championships, 1993, 95, 96, and 97. Attended international competitions in both sports, highlighted by 3 first-place finishes at the Sunkist International Wrestling Championships and a silver medal at the 1991 U.S. Open International Judo Championships. She is a 4-time SAS Sport Athlete of the Year and has also served as an official in both sports. Would you please welcome into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, Kim Berge-Kuyt, athlete, judo, and wrestling.
Wow.
think being a teacher I'd be better at this. You're not a bunch of high school kids. First, I'd like to thank the Regina Sports Hall of Fame for the induction, and also to my friend Lorna for putting in the nomination. And congratulations also to the other nominees for all your contributions to sport. Not often do we get a chance to get up and thank everyone who's been involved in our careers. So I'm going to take a few minutes to do that. I'll start with judo. I've been in judo for almost 40 years. We started judo, and I think it was more of a way for my parents to get a 2-hour break. They dropped off 7 children, drove away, and came back 2 hours later. And I was about 7 years old at the time. So that was in Prince Albert. Shortly after we moved to Regina, and they found a new club, and I started training in Regina from that point on. There are 2 coaches that really stand out in my judo career. The first is Toshi Shimura. He's here tonight. So I started his club when I was 8, and I wasn't very good. Physically, I wasn't very good at judo, and I probably wasn't the best behaved child on the mat either. But I came around. A lot of the values in the sport of judo, Toshi was very good at teaching us those. And basically, I trained with him until I started competing at the national level. And then I also started training at the other club in Regina, where my other coach that I'd like to thank, Mike Renouf. He was also the provincial coach at that time, so he traveled with me to all my national championships. But I'll come back to judo in a second. Well, I'll finish with judo. I was just a little bit shy on making the '92 Olympic team. So when I was done, I retired, I'm done judo, I packed all my stuff in a box, and I thought, hey, maybe I'll wrestle. But my wrestling started a little earlier. When I was in grade 8, I heard they were gonna have a wrestling team, so I thought, hey, I'm gonna join. My brothers wrestled, which made it an easy transition. The guy who was coaching, girls didn't wrestle back in the 80s, so he thought that was strange. And basically said, no, I'm not gonna run a program that has girls in it. And I said, well, I wanna be a wrestler. So he did not run a wrestling program. So I didn't start wrestling in grade 8. But in high school, grade 12, I decided I'm gonna join the wrestling team. And these coaches were aware of my family, they coached my brothers, so I walked in and I said, I wanna wrestle. And they said, okay. And so I pulled out my old yearbook, and one of the quotes in there was, for the wrestling team, initially met with skepticism. The situation turned out to be a positive one. So I guess it was okay. So I'd like to thank my high school coaches, and they were also my teachers, Dan Baker and Earl Fidel. So then university came along. And of course, I decided I was gonna try and wrestle there. So I tried to take the wrestling activity class, if any of you have. And the wrestling coach there, some of you may be aware of him, Leo McGee. So I said, I want to take the wrestling class. He said, no. I said, well, I want to take it. He goes, well, you need a partner. I said, I have a partner. I dragged one of my judo buddies along. And he goes, no, it has to be a girl. So he wouldn't let me take the class. And so I pulled out some old newspaper articles. Leo's a great one for quotes. It's unrealistic for girls to compete with guys. There's no way a girl would last more than 8 to 10 seconds. But my rebuttal in the same article was, he'll give in sooner or later. Well, I took the class the next semester. Then I wanted to go to nationals. Well, he wouldn't really let me come into the wrestling room. I said, but I need to practice. So he gave in. He let me come in to wrestle with my brother, who at that time was 210 pounds, and I was about 140 pounds. But that's the only person I could train with. And it worked out that year. Then I decided I'm just gonna start up my own wrestling club. So I got a few girls coming out, trained with them a little bit. But Leo gave in. So eventually, my girls and me got to train with the men. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. He's a great coach. I make fun of him now, but it was fun. I guess I need to thank my parents. I guess if they wouldn't have thrown us all into that judo club when I was 7, I wouldn't be involved in the sport. And they're also the ones who made sure that we were up at 5 in the morning, dark, driving 4 hours to a judo tournament. A bunch of grumpy kids because we had to weigh in that morning and couldn't eat breakfast. Later on, they were always there, always supportive in all my sports. So thank you to them. And thanks to the other people involved in my life now. I'm still part of judo. I kind of gave up coaching and wrestling when I had my 2 children because it's just too much going on. But judo is still a big part of my life. And it'll be 40 years in a couple of years. I run my own judo club in the city, and I have a lot of great coaches that work with me, Ross and Tyler, Lorna, and Andrew. And then my family. Well, my husband met me way back when I was in high school, so 18, and he stuck around through all that competitive time in my life. And then a little while later, I had children. Not a little while later, it was a lot later. And they're part of judo. They were kind of born into the sport, they're part of the sport, and everything they do, activity-wise, they love. And I hope that they continue to be involved in sports. That's all I have to say. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Congratulations for putting Leo McGee in his place. Not easy to do. Our next inductee, Brian DeJarle, athlete, weightlifting. Brian started weightlifting after playing competitive softball, and after winning master category 40 to 49 bench press at the 98 Can-Am Police Fire Games, he moved to Grand Master and won 7 more gold medals at subsequent events. He also had 6 gold medals and 2 silver medals from 4 World Police Fire Games between 2003 and 2013. The list of gold medal performances includes 2000, 2001, 2004, and 2015 Canadian Championships. The 2015 North American Powerlifting Championships for 3 lifts, squat, bench, and deadlift in the 60 to 69 category. He won bench press and 3 lift gold medals at provincial championships in 2004, 2007, and 2013. Would you please welcome into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame, athlete, weightlifting, Brian DeJarle.
Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, fellow inductees, good evening. I'm going to start off here by just telling you that being inducted here was a complete surprise to me. Like, it's a huge honor, but it's a big surprise. I think the biggest reason that caught me off guard is because powerlifting was a sport that I took up quite late in life. My first competition never took place till I was 49 years old. Now, when I was a kid, I was active in all sorts of sports. In public school, I competed in track and field, baseball. In high school, I played a bit of hockey, football, track and field, but my favorite sport always was fastball. As an adult, I played broomball, competed a bit taekwondo, and I continued to play competitive fastball into my 40s. As I got older, I seemed to lose that hungry, competitive spirit that one needs to be successful in sports, and staying in good physical condition was becoming a concern. Well, as luck would have it, I was working with a bunch of young guys that still had that competitive spirit. I was a firefighter here in Regina, and every hall had a gym. We had a treadmill, an exercise bike, and lots of weights. So occasionally I'd go in for a workout. I'd do a little treadmill, maybe ride the bike. I did a lot of chin-ups and push-ups, but I never really got involved with weights. I was working with 6 young guys at the time, and they were on a regular weightlifting routine. Now, I didn't join in because I didn't know much about that. Like I said, I didn't know much about weightlifting. But after much coaxing, and you might say they shamed me into working out with them, we worked out about an hour and a half every day that we're on shift. One day I was kind of sore, and I was trying to slide out of the workout. And they would have none of that. I was sitting on the couch rather comfortably, and one of the young guys says, "Come on, Grandpa, get your gear on." Now, I got to tell you, that sort of got the competitive juices going again. I was the oldest and smallest guy at the hall, and being Grandpa got me fired up again. I figured, okay, game on, you guys. I never missed a workout with that crew again. Now, working with that particular crew was the start of me competing in powerlifting. Powerlifting consists of 3 different lifts: squats, bench press, and deadlifts. In competition, medals are given out for 3 lift total, as well as individual medals for the lifts. On occasion, I would win the 3 lift total, but most of my medals were earned in bench press. And at the hall, we did a lot of all 3 of these lifts. Now, the timing of me starting to lift with these guys seemed like it was just meant to be. Later on that year, in 1997, a notice was sent to the firehouse that the World Peace Fire Games was to be held in Calgary. Now, that was the first time I ever heard of the games. And when I heard that some of the local firefighters were going to compete in various sports, I just had to have a look at it. These games had every sport imaginable. They had track and field, had fastball, hockey, curling, martial arts, archery, boxing. They even had billiards at these games, cooking, and fishing. Now, that really got my attention was powerlifting. After the games were over, I checked out the powerlifting results, and seeing these results, I figured that with a little work, I could be competitive in powerlifting. Now, I got to tell you, to be competitive, like police and fire are really a competitive bunch of guys. Like I said earlier, that me lifting with a bunch of guys at number 7 Hall was meant to be, because that prepared me again for what was coming the following year. The following year, 1998, Regina was holding the Can-Am Games right here in town. I entered the bench press, my first competition ever, and I was lucky enough to win a gold medal. Now, I've been competing ever since. Over the last 19 years, I've competed in numerous police fire games, both the Can-Am and the World Games. After my first competition, I was hooked. Not only was I working out at work, but I started to go to various gyms on my days off throughout the city. In talking with people at these other gyms, I found that there was other organizations I could compete in. Actually, I learned that Saskatchewan was and is a hotbed of powerlifters, particularly Moose Jaw. Moose Jaw was the home of 2 different powerlifting associations. One was built at the Saskatchewan Drug-Free Association, and the other one was the Saskatchewan Powerlifting Association. Both were drug-free, and both were affiliated with national organizations, and both were affiliated with world organizations. Over the years, I've competed in the worlds in both these federations. So as you can imagine, me competing with 4 different games, my wife Gloria and I got to do a lot of traveling. Now, Gloria and I usually never travel alone. A lot of times family come with us. Our daughter Angela, who's a police officer in Regina here, she also competes in powerlifting. And on numerous occasions, her and her family traveled with us. Angela has won numerous medals in police fire games herself. And last year in Texas, she walked away with a silver medal at the International Powerlifting Federation Games. Okay, that's enough about Angela. The last 19 years have been a blast. We got to meet a lot of people from all over North America and around the world. And one of the biggest benefits of working out and competing, other than travel, has been the health benefits. I can honestly say that at 68 years old, I'm in as good condition today as I was in my late 30s. Now, having said that, I'll continue competing as long as I can stay competitive. Before I go here, I'd like to thank a few people. I'd like to congratulate, first of all the other inductees, and I want to thank the Regina Sports Hall of Fame board members, thank her for the induction, Kathy Glasser, where are you? Thank you, Kathy. Without people like you and your hard work, events like this just wouldn't be possible. I'd also like to thank a former inductee, Roland Duplessis, for putting my name in for consideration. And again, another big thanks to my daughter Angela for the many hours she put in researching my stats for this event. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Our next inductee, Jackie Moore, athlete, basketball. Jackie competed in basketball, volleyball, and athletics at Tom Collegiate before her 5-year basketball career at the University of Regina. She won 3 straight GPAC championships and qualified for the CIAU tournament, winning silver in 1991, her final appearance. The only player in U of R history with 3 All-Canadian and 5 Conference All-Star selections. She was a GPAC second team All-Star in 1987, first team in 1988 to 91, and All-Canadian from 1989 to 1991. University's a record holder for points per game, 18.5. Playing for Canada, she averaged 5.4 points for Canada at the 1992 Olympic qualifying tournament. She also won bronze at the 1991 Summer Universiade and played in the 1991 Pan American Games. She also played professionally in Germany, second and top division until 1997, unretired in 2009 to form a successful club team, and she now teaches phys ed and English at a high school in Cologne, Germany. We now have a special video since Jackie couldn't be here tonight, but she did send a video along with her remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, members of the boards and committees of the Regina Hall of Fame, fellow inductees, good evening. Let me start by saying how much I wish I could be there in person. To my family and friends that are here tonight, a special thanks. It means the world to me that you could be there. To my fellow inductees, congratulations. I am just in awe of all of your accomplishments. I wish I could chat with you and hear about some of your experiences. Enjoy your well-deserved evening. It feels a little strange to me to be receiving an honor like this after playing team sports my whole life. This is really a tribute to an incredible group of teammates, to our coaches Sheila Becky and Debbie Nash, and an excellent program at the University of Regina. I was so lucky to be a part of it. When we joined Sheila's team in 1986, the majority of us were rookies. This made for a challenging start, to say the least, but it also meant we got tons of playing time and experience together. Playing for Sheila was a gift. She's an amazing woman and role model who taught us invaluable skills on and off the court that I still try to pass on to my kids, players, and students to this day. Here's just one example of how she taught us to be gracious winners. We were 2 minutes away from upsetting Winnipeg in their own gym to go on to the national finals. The third game of a very heated best of 3. We had quite the rivalry with Winnipeg that had gotten nasty from time to time. As I mentioned, this was an upset, so more often than not, we had lost to them. They were not good winners. So Sheila called a timeout with 2 minutes to go and said, okay, we're about to beat them. We're not going to get excited or jump up and down. We're going to shake their hands like it's no surprise to us, leave the gym, and when we're alone together, then we're definitely going to celebrate. She also got us involved in volunteering and giving back to the community. Sheila was just one of the world-class coaches that I got to play for. I was so lucky. But there are so many people that make it possible for an athlete to succeed. All the coaches and teammates, teachers, refs, managers and owners, physios and doctors, fans, and my special heroes, equipment room and building managers who let me into gyms, pools, weight rooms, and stairwells at all hours to get some extra training in. I'm also thankful that I played at the time that I did, when we could play multiple sports per year. Didn't play sports all year round until provincial teams in grade 9, and didn't have to choose one sport until university. I know that my body definitely would have broken down well before I was ready to stop playing had I started playing one sport all year round any earlier than I did. I definitely wouldn't still be active now, playing with a great group of women here in Germany. I also didn't start playing basketball until grade 7. I didn't know what the baskets were for before I went to RJ Davidson and Doug Bolander explained things to me. He was just the first of many wonderfully supportive coaches and teachers. At Tom Collegiate, that support continued in many ways. Playing at lunchtime against all the teachers, Mr. Wild letting me take part in his senior boys practices after I was finished with the junior girls practices, the wrestling and football coaches helping me find my way in the weight room, and shooting practices with Glenn Ficula, just to name a few. But the thing I'm most grateful for is that I was supported and given opportunities, but not spoiled, not at Tom. The work ethic I developed there got me through some pretty tough times when I went pro. Now I have to mention my senior men's team, the Skizziks. I had some time on my hands after I graduated from U of R and hadn't landed a team in Europe yet, but still needed to stay in shape for the national team. The senior men's league was nice enough to let me play, and the Skizziks gracious enough to let the big chick into their midst. And as disappointed as I was that I didn't find a team in Europe, I wouldn't have changed a thing. It was such a memorable year with one of the best teams I've ever played on. Though it was often their trash talk that had opponents being a little harder on me than they normally would have, I also knew that they had my back. Sport has given me so many opportunities, meeting amazing people from all over the world, seeing the world, and seeing some things that made me realize how lucky we are and how thankful we should be. Another huge gift that sport gives athletes is a voice and the opportunity to help and connect with people, and especially kids who really need our support. Now on to my parents. I couldn't have had more supportive parents, not only teaching my siblings and I to be active at early ages and to work for what we want. My dad also coached us. My mom and dad spent a lot of hours on some pretty uncomfortable bleachers, cheering us on. They even took a 2-day bus trip to make it to Sudbury that year we unexpectedly made it to nationals. Unfortunately, my dad isn't here tonight. He passed just a few months ago. But I know how proud he was of me and that team. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Though I've been away from Regina for many years, I still consider it home. I spend a lot of time thinking of home and the people there. So being inducted into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame is a wonderful gift, and I thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Here's Jackie's mom right here to come up and present or accept this award. She really is a softie. She's always telling me, get behind that line, Woods. I'm going to give it to you. Anyway, that's our presentations for this evening. I want to congratulate once again all the inductees. Well deserved. And thank you so much for the memories and what you've given to sport in Regina. Just a couple of thank yous before we go. First of all, thanks to Access Communications, one of our community partners. We want to thank Molson, our originating sponsor, and all of the companies on the back of the program for helping make this night the success that it was. We want to remind you that nominations for 2018 will be accepted until May the 1st, 2018. The nomination forms, along with membership forms, are available from any board member and also at the reception table out at the front. You can also visit us on the web, reginasportshalloffame.com, for nomination forms and details on all our inductees. Membership forms also available. You can speak to any member of the board of directors about that. Thank you very much for having me here as your MC tonight. Have a safe evening, and we'll see you here next year, October the 4th. Thank you very much.